www.oralgh.org www.oralgh.org or via email public@oralgh.org. I repeat that again. The email is public@oralgh.org. The transition team assured that these platforms prioritize security and confidentiality to protect informants from any risk of reprisal. Kwachi offers to emphasize the team's commitment to handling all submissions with utmost discretion and acting promptly on reported cases. Now, launched on Wednesday, December 18, with Samuel Okudzeto-Oblakwa as its chairman, the Oral Initiative is part of the comprehensive strategy to combat systemic corruption and financial impropriety in the public sector. And we want to have a conversation on the back of this. We know that since Monday, this team formed by His Excellency, the President-elect John Dramani Mahama, has sparked a lot of controversy. And just as you see displayed on your screen, the John Mahama formed anti-corruption preparatory team. Okudzeto-Oblakwa on your screens. We do have the former Auditor General Dom Level also over there. Again, the former CEO Pico Fibwachi over there, and astute lawyer, lawyer Martin Kwegbu, and then Raymond Archer, investigative journalist. We do have Adam Senanu, who is an anti-corruption campaigner, on the line to have a conversation on the back of this. Adam, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
First of all, let me just ask your opinion. What is your initial assessment of the Operation Recover or Loot initiative?
Well, I think that it's a relevant, good initiative to the extent that they're able to gather any information relating to persons who may be so inclined to defraud the state, transfer resources, or change documentation within this transitional period because they want to hide something. It's also good to the extent that it leverages the whistleblower mechanism, sensitizing Ghanaians, and I keep reminding people that this is an obligation of a responsible citizen under Article 41F of our Constitution to protect state property and report the misuse of state property and assets, etc. So, in principle, I think that it is a useful initiative.
There are some people who have criticized the team. In fact, some also picking out and trying to make means of why some persons have been put in that position. Especially also the fact that one investigative journalist, Raymond Archer's name has been openly publicized. Putting his safetyness and petty information that he may also contribute to the team. What does this contribute to fighting the fight of Operation Loot and Recover all? Recover all loot, I beg your pardon.
So far, in terms of the individuals who've been named, historically, they have a relation with the space. They've done work, volunteered, been passionate. I don't appear to remember or recollect any sense of victimization by such persons. And they are indeed insulated from final investigations and prosecution on the material facts that they may get. So to that extent, ultimately they'll transfer whatever aggregated information to the relevant institutions of state to cross-check and then decide who to prosecute or not. So I think that there's a sense in which the interpretation that they will be going after people is also stretched, because they will not have the ultimate decision on who will be followed up or prosecuted, etc. And for the persons mentioned, I think that they have been, by and large, very honorable, hardworking, well-known individuals with quite a bit of experience and expertise which they'll bring to the committee. So I don't see a negative, really. I don't see a negative in terms of the composition of the committee.
Then it means that the call of its effectiveness will really stand, I believe.
Well, yes, I'm cautiously optimistic. Remember that on the back of the Afrobarometer report, which has indicated that Ghanaians, about 30% plus of Ghanaians have said that they are unwilling to report acts of corruption. One, because they fear retribution, that the criminals might get to know who provided the information, which means that anonymity of those providing this information is key. It's crucial to getting the results. And secondly, because they're not quite sure there'll be any change, that nothing will change after reporting. So if you have a committee that is encouraging people to do so and able to guarantee that your anonymity is guaranteed and assured, many more Ghanaians may provide information that corroborates itself and makes it easier to draw conclusions on issues. I think it is novel. I think it should actually not be left as a partisan political initiative, but ultimately it should be institutionalized, that every time we're going through a transition, one of the committees will be one that looks at corruption and good governance and encourages the public to provide any information, which would then be, as it were, cross-checked and validated. That way, anyone going to government knows that at the transitional period, there are going to be lots of Ghanaians watching, and whatever information they have will be provided to certain persons and allowing for follow-up investigation and prosecution. That hopefully should serve as an additional deterrent to people who want to, as it were, defraud the state with impunity.
Again, then another perspective is then will be that what will the use of, the oral team, should there be, what would you also tell those that believe that the oral team should also make use of the RTI rather than just the platform put out there?
Well, I think that, you see, strategies can be deployed. Anyone who does, if you engage in advocacy, when you engage in, let's say, military warfare, they'll tell you their strategies, their tactics, and you change your strategies and tactics depending on what the terrain demands. At the moment, there is that sense that some persons may be trying to run away from the jurisdiction, transfer items, and you want to speed up the sensitization of citizens so that many more eyes, let's say 30 million Ghanaians, eyes open, looking out for anybody who may be wanting to do that, so that we can, as it were, maintain resources that could be lost, retrieve some that have been taken away, etc. That therefore informs the kind of strategy you want to deploy. So I haven't engaged with those who came behind this, but I can see a relevance in terms of our current context, that we're worried that some persons who may not have thought that, okay, there may not be a change of government, everything's okay. Suddenly they realize, look, we may not hold this office in another 3 weeks. And so maybe attempting certain things. You want many more Ghanaians to be responsible in terms of our constitutional obligations, and many more people to be given in information that could prevent any such losses. So I see this as complementary, and I think I want to underscore that point. It is not that they are not using the RTI. It is not that the relevant institutions of state will not be harnessed. I think that all of these are part of the basket of strategy, of tools that are available, are accessible, and can be deployed. It is not one or the other. So let's use all of these as effectively as we can to protect the state's resources and to continue to develop this nation.
Mr. Senanu, again, let me find out from you. Then, in terms of this team outsourcing for information, how do they also sieve misinformation so they also do not get misled? I beg your pardon.
Well, that's the point. That's why you have a committee that is receiving information, aggregating it, sieving through it. And the beauty of that is if you have 2 or 3 citizens corroborating the same issue, then that will be much stronger, credible evidence to then move on to say the Office of the Special Prosecutor or charge. So if you have many more citizens providing different angles to a particular issue, that would be for me, the ones that they would probably run with. And those that you have just one person saying something you're not quite sure of, because that will require much more work. So they're more likely to deal with the low-hanging fruits where you have several citizens putting information. They themselves know that their credibility will be on the line. So they're not likely to pursue issues where there isn't sufficient corroborating evidence from other citizens, etc., where their own intelligence doesn't give them that confidence that this is something worthy of pursuing. So these are professionals from Honorable Sam Okujetu Ablakwa all the way to Martin Kwebu. These are not persons who are now finding their feet in the terrain. So, and there are many times, if you look in the past, whether it's the chair himself or other members have been involved in cases, and so they know the pitfalls, the potential pitfalls that they need to navigate. And I'm quite sure they would not want to get themselves soiled by individuals who just make speculative accusations and then run with those accusations. I doubt that is likely to happen.
Mr. Senanu, thank you so much this afternoon for your time.
And thank you for having me.
We have been speaking with Mr. Adam Senanu. He is an anti-corruption campaigner on the back of the Operation Recover or Loot, and we still have been engaging more for other perspective. But away from that, 6 people have been killed during Ghana's 2024 general election as a result of the gunshot and stabbing by the party supporters. The Center for Democratic Development CDD Ghana 2024 election incident report gave out a total of 76 separate incidents. It recorded its relation in the election. Now, the Coalition for Domestic Election Observers, CODEO, and the West African Network for Peacebuilding, WATNEP, supported CDD Ghana in compiling the report, presenting the findings in Accra. Mr. Paul Nana Kwabena Abrampa-Mensah, Program Manager in charge of Security Sector Governance, CDD Ghana, said of the 76 incidents, 24 were cases of distraction, seizure, vandalism, and invasion of public facilities. Now, while 46 were injuries, with 6 dead. Touching on the death, Mr. Mensah said that the Nyankpala lorry station in the Talon constituency of the Northern region, one Haruna Shaibu, a 31-year-old steel bender, was shot and killed on the spot. He said Mukaila Ziblim, 35, died from a gunshot wound he sustained from a stray bullet in Damango constituency of the Savannah region during a collision. On December 7, a shooting incident in Ewutu Senya East constituency of the Central region led to the death of 1 person and other critically injured. Mr. Mensah said in the Ahafo Ano Southwest constituency of the Ashanti region during the collation process at the Electoral Commission office at the Mankranso, unidentified supporters of the 2 leading political parties believed their opponents intended to rig the election, which led to the confrontation. As a result, 6 people got injured, and one of them, Kwesi Nimo, a 33-year-old man, later died at the Mankraso Government Hospital. In the Offenso North constituency of the Ashanti region, some youth from Akumadan, suspected to be the National Democratic Congress NDC supporters, broke into a warehouse belonging to the New Patriotic Party parliamentary candidate and looted bags of fertilizers, he said. Mr. Mensah said the incident occurred shortly after the election results were declared at the Coalition Center. He again went on to say that the youth looted the fertilizer, and some supporters of the NPP attempted to stop them, and in the process, 1 person was stabbed to death and another person was injured by a bullet and died later at the hospital. Regarding the destruction of public property, Mr. Mensah mentioned that the burning of the EC's office and offices at the Damango in the Savannah region and Ayensuano in the Eastern region. He further added that 132 suspects had been arrested so far, of which 45 were remanded in custody, 71 on police enquiry bail, and 16 on court bail he bemoaned. But let's take a look at some of the graphics that popped up over there. So just a breakdown by the CDD report on the electoral violence that was recorded this particular year, 2024 election. So a total incident of the violence recorded was 76. So let's break it down. It says that cases of vandalism recorded was 24. Injuries recorded this particular election was also 24. Death recorded was 6. Now the details of the incident says that as I indicated earlier, one Haruna Shaibu, who is a 31-year-old man, died from shooting incident from Nyankpala lorry station. Another person, Mukala Ziblim, 35-year-old, also died from shooting incident in Damango. another shooting incident in Ewutu Senya East. One person died from it. There were some investigation also ongoing over them. Kwesi Nimo, a 33-year-old, also died at Mankraso Government Hospital following the riot at the Mankraso Coalition Center. But we do have Mr. Kwabna Abrampa Mensah, who is the program manager in charge of security at the sector governance for CDD Ghana. Mr. Abrampa, once again, good afternoon for your time.
Good afternoon, my sister.
Well, my name is Eric.
Oh, sorry, Eric. Good afternoon.
I mean, first of all, let me just ask you, the report mentions that 76 incidents with 24 related distractions and vandalism and public facility invasion. What does this suggest about the level of political instability during this election?
Let me say, greet our listeners this afternoon and say it's unfortunate that in this time of the year we are talking about electoral violence in the 9th election since 1992. And we said not until 2 p.m. on the 7th December, we had started commending ourselves that what we witnessed in 2020, that during the registration we recorded some 3 deaths, and the coalition, the declaration and coalition, we recorded another 5 deaths. And because throughout the registration, the campaigning, we had not had any bad incidents, we thought 2024 was going to be an exception. But unfortunately, from 2 p.m. on December 7th, we started hearing the bad news, which added on during the coalition, and we witnessed some of them on television and also heard the news. So insofar in our system, the structure we established in Apollo online system to track the incident, that is what we have so far. Not mention the specific issues that we've not added, that border on destruction of electoral commission specific materials and attack of electoral commissions, and those things have not been added now because we think the electoral commission will deal with those ones. So what we collated outside those incidents, that gives us the 76, with so far recording 6 people dying, 24 destruction and invasion into public facilities, then the remaining 45 serious injuries.
Again, we would want to find out from you per the report, what was the major causes of the violence that recorded these cases?
Yes, so we need to take our time to do the assessment. Of course, one of the causes for electoral violence in Ghana has been mutual distrust and the politics of I have to win at all costs. We remember in the 2 court cases that we've had on our election results in 2013 and 2021, the key issue that came out from the ruling was that elections are won at the polling station. The political parties have taken that to mean that if I'm able to protect my ballot with whatever means I can, the results will be declared for me. You listen to the Electoral Commission's rejection of some already collated results from some constituencies based on how their officers were treated to, under duress, declare some results. We don't have the truth of it. It's the Electoral Commission saying that is the extent at which people will go to get their parties win the elections. Secondly, don't forget, in Ghana, and especially most in Africa, what we have is that the fortunes of party supporters are usually tied to the fortunes of their political party. You saw the post-election attacks and the demands the people were making. When they went to Ghana Gas, they said they should give them employment. When they went to the port, they said they should give them employment. When they went to NATMO, some of them were chanting that we've been coming here occasions upon for you to consider us. You take your party supporters for employment. So it means that when my party comes to power, I have about more than 50% chance of also improving my standard. So the fortunes of political party supporters are usually tied to the fortunes of the political party. And therefore, when the command comes out, go and protect your ballot. They don't touch you, it means that I'm going to stay there vigilantly and watch that the counting goes on as required. But they go extra mile to do anything. I mean, anything that they could do to make sure that their favorites are declared the winners. So these are some of the two few things, but I think we need to do a thorough assessment of the whole thing to come out with the actual causes of that. But initially, I mean, we can point to these two factors.
Mr. Abrampa, you are in terms of security very much knowledgeable in security matters. But prior to this election, we were promised by the security agencies, especially the IGP, promising a lot of things ahead, and after the election. But it looks like we have seen a lot of violence occur in some of the constituencies. But assessing the overall security measures put in place during the 2024 election, were they identifiable lapses, and what does the report say on that?
Well, it's an argument that we can pick up. Let's also assess that in 2020, the only polling station or a constituency that will have some of these atrocities or these vigilante excesses witnessed was in the Techiman South. The police used the brute force to quench the attackers and resulted in 2 deaths instantly. Supposing the police had adopted that same strategy in the 2024 elections that we had, most of these cases happening, you can mention about 20 collating centers that will witness a semblance of what we saw in Techiman South in 2020. What do you think? What do you think will have happened if only one polling center, 2 people died, and they have applied the same strategy of resolving the attackers or stopping the attackers in 2024? We could have been writing a different script now. So I think the strategy the police adopted so far, by relaxing for people to do whatever they want, but go after them and arrest them using intelligence methods, and so far arresting 32. Up to this point, for me as security analyst, I would say I like that strategy rather than using a different strategy that could have recorded more fatalities in the process. But I'll end here and say that the 132 people have been arrested so far, according to the police briefing on 13th December, on Friday. They said 45 have been remanded, 16 or 15 in police court bail, and 71 at police inquiry bail. We wait to see how the process unfolds and what happens to the people who perpetrated the act. If this goes on well and we are able to identify and punish, then I will endorse this strategy. However, if it becomes the normal way that elections crimes are abandoned just 3 months after the electoral process, then it will be unfortunate that we adopt this strategy. But so far, I will endorse the strategy adopted that reduced the number of fatalities we could have if I've used the same strategy used in 2020.
Mr. Abrampa, once again, thanks for your time this afternoon.
You're welcome.
We have been speaking to Kwabna Abrampa Mensah, Programs Manager in charge of Security and Governance, CDD Ghana. Away from that, let's do more news here on ABC Midday. Once again, we're streaming live on YouTube. Let's know what you think about the stories. You can also stream live once again on YouTube. I am Eric Chinibwa Melo. Away from that, the lawyer of Haruna Apau Vredu, the National Democratic Congress NDC parliamentary candidate for Fancheko North, has filed a motion at the Koforidua High Court seeking to nullify the Electoral Commission's re-declaration of the constituency's election results. The motion filed by Isaac Mensalabi Esquire calls for a judicial review in the nature of statutorium to quash the purported redeclaration of the result as announced by the Deputy Returning Officer of the election at Tessenum, Accra, on December 12, 2024. The application also seeks an order of prohibition to prevent the EC from publishing or gazetting the redeclared result. Lawyer Labi argues that the redeclaration was unlawful and exceeded the jurisdiction of the Deputy Returning Officer. Now, Eastern Regional Correspondent Osei Mafo is on the line. Would want to get, well, I believe we're trying to get him on the line. But before then, let's take a listen at what happened in court.
Total votes cast, 23,002. 182. In the absence of my returning officer and the power vested in me as the deputy returning officer, I therefore declare Mr. Kwame Appiah-Kodua of the NPP as the winner of the parliamentary elections in the Fantiakwa North District constituency.
Well, we'll bring you that shortly, but this was the happenings later at the Coalition Center, which saw the deputy NPP member over there, and we'll get you that very shortly. But I believe you're trying to still get our Eastern Regional correspondent on the line to have a conversation on the back of that. But Asan, when we do get him, we will. But honestly, there have been some contention about these seats, and yesterday also, as we brought to you, the Electoral Commission says that it is bent on having, a recollation again, in fact, a redeclaration, and the brouhaha that comes with it. The NDC also say that it is unlawful, it is against the CI, and they are not going to allow the Electoral Commissioner, led by Jane Mensam, to proceed on it. We do have our correspondent on the line. I believe we do have a correspondent on the line. Moses, good afternoon. What's the latest from the region?
Okay, so thank you very much. If you come to the Eastern region, the region is very calm, except to say that the NDC within the region are doing all it can to ensure that the declaration by the Electoral Commission at the Tesano Police Training School, which occurred on the 12th of December after the electoral, that is the returning officer at the Fantiakwa North had declared the NDC parliamentary candidate as the winner of the said elections. However, the Electoral Commission deemed that the processes wasn't right and didn't follow due process, so they had to do the collation again, and later we declared the NPP's candidate, who happens to be Kwame Appiah-Kodua, the winner. The NDC within the Fantiakwa North were doing all it can to ensure that they go through processes to nullify the said re-declaration. So this morning, the regional legal head for the party NDC had filed a motion at the Koforia Circuit Court, praying the courts to nullify the EC's declaration, which occurred on the 12th of December. So that's what's happening in the region at the moment.
Again, describe to us the tensions and agitations from supporters after this. We know that yesterday also the EC chairperson, Jane Mensah, also said that there were going to be some redeclaration and all of that. But how are the supporters also responding to this?
Okay, so currently, if you come to the Fantiakwa North constituency, which have headquarters, the capital, Begro, the place is very, very calm, except that we were just hearing from ground that the party will be going to the court and all that. So for the court processes, we actually picked information that they were going to embark on a legal process. So when you come to the constituency, the place is calm, except that we were all waiting to see what will happen today, and this news just broke.
Also, be keeping an eye on that for us, because this is a developing story also in that region. And as you know, both parties are bent on having that seat. And we know as well that the EC is also in preparation to get these seats redeclared again. So we'll come back to you as and when there's more details on that seat as well.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
My colleague Moses Osei Mafo is our Eastern Regional correspondent over there and brought us reports from the Eastern region. But away from that, the Executive Director for Care Ghana, David Kumi-Addo, has raised concern over the EC's seeming silence on seat won by the NPP and the contentious circumstances. His comments come in the wake of the annulment of the parliamentary result of some 9 constituencies by the EC. Speaking on the ABC in the morning, he cited the case of Damango, which according to him was won under questionable circumstances given the violence that characterized the election in the area. He further argued that the EC is overreaching its powers as there is no regulation under CI 127 that permits its call for a redeclaration after initial declaration is done.
So we didn't take it serious because obviously there is no law that allows Jane Mensah, who is the EC chairperson, Dr. Bosman Asare, deputy EC chairperson, Samuel Tete, deputy EC chairperson, or any of the directors the opportunity or the right to call for a re-declaration. There is no law. So we knew that that wasn't going to stand. And just to there is no law that allows Jane Mensah, who is the EC chairperson, Dr. Bosman Asare, deputy EC chairperson, Samuel Tete, deputy EC.
Still on election matters, the Deputy Secretary of the NDC, Mustafa Gbande, has dared the Electoral Commissioner, Jane Mensah, to conduct any form of collation. According to him, the EC has demonstrated nothing but failure throughout the electoral process. His comment follows the announcement by the EC Chairperson, Jane Mensah, on Commission's decision to recollate results in the some 9 disputed constituencies. Briefing the media on Thursday, December 19, she called on President Akufo-Addo to provide the Commission with adequate security and engaging in the recollation exercise.
To protect the EC in such a criminal scheme. Now, we need Ghana to be peaceful. If you go to Sablugu, even though the MPP won, our party over there had issues with the declaration. What we have told them is to go to court. On the strength of EC's own precedent, 2020, where in Techiman South, we had a cause to call for recollation. The EC told all of us that you go to court. What has changed? The inconsistency on her part is enough to demonstrate incompetence, classical incompetence, and doing everything possible to render this nation chaotic. I am daring President Akufo-Addo and daring the Electoral Commission. They should try the recollation. They will do it in the sky. And I'm advising the MPP. They have lost. If they have any basis to dispute the results that have been declared, they should go to court. The mere rhetoric of allegations, litany of same without basis, that EC officers were at gunpoint, is an imagination of delusion. It's a lie, barefaced, without any fact. In Tema Centra.
Away from that, let's do some business news after this break. Do stay. In business, economist Patrick Asumin has endorsed President-elect John Dramani Maham's proposal to renegotiate Ghana's IMF agreement, calling it a positive move for the country's economic recovery. Speaking on ABC in the morning, Asumin remarked it is something that is good and should be embraced. He noted that renegotiating the deal could help tackle Ghana's mounting debt burden, emphasizing that while the IMF may resist changes that increase debt, it also could be open for innovative fiscal strategies to enhance consolidation efforts.
In spite of what the then MPP said when they were in opposition, notice that when they came to power, the program was extended. That comes by discussion and negotiation. So I think it's something similar that they are going to do. And obviously, the IMF wouldn't want to change the program in such a way that it will increase the debt position. That's not something that it will agree to. But it will accept innovative suggestions for trying to improve the fiscal consolidation effort. And I think that's what you expect. So that will only help with the debt situation and overall how the program is going to be implemented. So I think it's something that is good and that should be embraced. At least based on what the President-elect has put out, the kind of thing that he's spoken about to be implemented. So I think it's...
He further stated that Ghana's debt stock will come down after all the debt restructuring has been finalized, but believes that just bringing it down should not be the focus, but rather behavioral improvement. He made this statement on the back of Ghana's debt stock, which sits at 742 billion.
When we have finalized all the debt restructuring, at the moment, those numbers have not been applied yet. So when we finish, and all the savings from the various, debt savings that we've been talking about, it will come down. But I don't think just bringing it down should be our focus. Making sure that the debt, we don't go back there. Because you can bring it down. I mean, just like anybody, you can bring your debt levels down. But if your behavior that makes you accumulate the debt, if that part doesn't improve, you will get back there again. And I think that's where we should focus on. This is where the budget balance is very important. The difference between how much revenue government is collecting and how much it is spending. So I think that's where we should keep our eye on. Because as for the reduction, it is a one-time event. The accumulation process is where you have to put our attention. And I think making sure that year on year, government is living within its means. And that, what it collects is being used for the intended purposes, and we are making the most from government expenditure. I think that's where the key is. When we have finalized all the debt restructuring, at the moment.
And in more business news, customers of the collapsed Men's Gold Ghana Limited have urged the incoming administration, President-elect John Dramani Mahama, to provide immediate financial relief to address their present challenges. Men's Gold, once a prominent player in the Ghana's financial sector, shut down amid allegations of operating a Ponzi scheme. Its collapse left thousands of investors stranded, unable to recover their funds, and many are now facing severe financial hardship as legal proceedings drag on year of litigation against Men's Gold CEO Nana Appiah-Mensah, popularly known as NAM1, have also yielded limited progress, now deepening frustration among affected customers. Fred Forson, convener of a group customers, joins us on phone and to also have a conversation on this. Fred, what is your major concern on this?
Well, first of all, good afternoon to your listeners, especially men. The elections were held barely a week ago, and so we sent our congratulatory message to the President-elect, His Excellency Mr. John Dramani Mahama, and the Vice President-elect, Professor Nana.
Hello, Fred.
We went to the post with...
Hello, Fred. Hello, Fred.
Yeah.
If you can hear me, kindly position yourself properly so we can hear you properly.
Yes. Is it okay now?
Not so well, but a bit will do. But you can
because
continue.
I'm in the car. Yeah.
All right, sure. Continue.
So these are expectations. These are the expectations of the customer, and one of them is the fact that it's our expectation that the new government, even as it takes over and it brings out its first budget, it is our expectation that the issues of Men's Gold will be captured, especially maybe a roadmap will be provided as to how customers can retrieve their money. And also we pledge our commitment to the government, to the ongoing criminal trial, that just as we were doing with the outgoing government, we shall cooperate fully with the incoming government in respect of the criminal trial. Then also we will be expecting that the new parliament, the ninth parliament, shall go into and shall conduct an administrative inquiry into the closure of Men's Gold, because we believe that something went amiss, that the closure of Men's Gold was not properly done, And that is the more reason why for over 6 years now, customers have not been able to see.
Hello, Fred. Hello. We seem to be having some challenges with Fred, but we'll try and get him back again. Well, unfortunately, we have lost Fred. He's a convener of the aggrieved customers of Men's Gold. He says that the president-elect should also step in to help them with this particular conversation. I really wanted to have a conversation with him, but we'll try that again in subsequent bulletin. But away from that, that's all for business. Let's transition once again to some more local stories. And it's festive season, but your safety matters. And ahead of the festive season, the Ghana National Fire Service says it is taking proactive steps to ensure public safety during what is often a busy period for gathering and celebration. Speaking exclusively on ABC in the morning, the head of public relations for the Ghana National Fire Service, DO2, Desmond, said the fire service is promoting the use of simple fire extinguishers in homes and businesses, emphasizing the importance in quickly containing small fires before they spread. He also urged the public to install fire alarms, which will help provide early warning in the event of the fire, allowing for a quicker, safer evacuations.
The general public that in as much as we want to enjoy our festive season and then have the best of it, we need to be mindful of some of these things that we do that create these fire conditions in order to put measures in place. And we have been advocating that this year for this particular festive season, instead of the usual chicken, fowl, goats, cows, and whatever gift we give to our loved ones, why not we also go for these fire extinguishers, the portable ones that we can give to our beloved, we can give to our family members, maybe to use in their vehicles, to use in their shops, to use in their offices, to use in their homes, and then call in the fire service to help us understand how to operate these gadgets so that in case of any fire outbreak, we can use it effectively to deal with the fire situation so that they do not get out of hand and then they do not ravage property. Aside the fire extinguisher, we also want to recommend that we also give to our loved ones with these smoke alarms. Once we have these smoke alarms and we install them in our living areas, our bedrooms, our escape routes, our corridors, our offices, and anywhere available on our premises, it will also alert us when there is any fire situation so that we can alert all our family members who are within the premises to escape to safety. Many times these fires do occur in the night, and before we are even made aware, it means that the whole place is smoky. And once the place is smoky, we tend to inhale them, and it makes us fall into deep sleep before the fire comes to burn us. But once we give these smoke alarms to our our loved ones, it helps to alert them at the slightest occurrence of fire so that they can escape. Because once lives are saved, I think it will go a long way to help us to live our lives in peace and without any fires coming in to destroy our party or destroy our normal lives. And in terms of the preparation that we have put in place, we are liaising with event organizers. We know there are going to be a lot of events. As we were even mentioning, Stoneboy, all the artists planning to organize these events, we are in touch with them. And then we are going to ensure that we put in measures that would ensure that all the patrons that will be coming for these events, their lives are secured. Their parking lots are well secured. There are safety measures. We have enough people on standby to take intelligence to ward off any security or safety concern. And then also to ensure that if there is any form of stampede, they are de-escalated.
Well, in more news, still in relation with the festive season, the Christmas Day approaches also with some just few days. Market women at the Accra Central have called on President-elect John Dramani Mahama to institute measures that can drastically control the fall of the city, and business can also pick up. Let's take a bite at what some of the market women have been saying.
Elections are over and political parties and members of parliament now know where they stand. It's time again to celebrate the festive season, and we are here at Accra Central, that's the Accra Metropolitan Assembly here at Subi, where we are here engaging marketing and traders on how the festive season is going. It's time for Christmas. We'll find out from market women how the atmosphere is and what they have to say. Are people buying? As the general election that took place some few weeks ago had a toll on the Christmas, let's find out from what the market women have to say.
According to them, they are hoping that the president-elect will fulfill his promises, and also in the appointment of the Accra mayor, they are urging the president to be considerate and choose a rightful person so that the activities will not be a threat, as they are always being sent parking by duty bearers not to sell on the pavement along the streets of Accra. Engaging these businesswomen, they indicated that business is low. Although a lot of people are in town, sales are not that high.
So big no opinion my own Tokyo. Then in a back to if you're public show, I want to get you better now. I want to see no matter my I'm not making my since I buy my to you know, you know, you can show. I buy my casa.
ABC News Ghana also interacted with the buyers on the festive occasion.
Market now is me won say e wo fun today to Christmas market am minya and then the market e wo fun to the previous Christmas.
Our market women over there always expressing themselves during the Yuletide. All the time they have to complain and also, pour out their frustrations in their festive season. But we will be keeping an eye on this festive season and what expectations and how you also are celebrating the festive season. But let's still do more news. Once again, reminded we're streaming live on YouTube, ABC News Ghana. Do all to follow us. Let's know what you think about all the stories and how prepared are you also for this festive season. Well, I have my plans. I'm sure you also do have your plans. But still, on some more news here on ABC News, we're told that we have gotten some confirmation also from the High Court that the EC and the Accra High Court has, so this is just news coming in. It says the Accra High Court has ordered the Electric Commission to collate and declare Ablekuma North and Ntawam Adwedri constituency parliamentary result, despite the NDC's objection. That is, it had already intended to be declared. Well, interesting development over there. Yesterday was when the Electric Commission demanded and said that they even needed some security to proceed with this, and now swiftly an Accra High Court has also allowed, or I should say, given a declaration on that. We'll be bringing you more details of that shortly, and to also have a comprehensive update on what the legalities in this, because the NDC have cited some breaches in Article 127 over them, and some interesting legal actions meted over there. But let's do some more news here on ABC. Again, the president of the Artisanal Palm Oil Millers and Outgrowers Association, Paul Amenim, has called on the government to strictly enforce palm oil production regulations to prevent smuggling, which is affecting the industry. He made this appeal during the association's annual general meeting in Kede, themed Shaping the Future of Substantial Palm Oil. Let's take a listen.
Amenim cautioned the government to protect palm oil production, which has the potential to employ over 1.8 million Ghanaians if properly regulated. Paul Amenim emphasized the need for enforcement to prevent smuggling and ensure the growth of the industry.
Sir Emrano Moshe, President Ma order, and now my executive instrument say, Yenshwa say, GRE, customs, Ebeshen way Musa and why ye and ye to ha. And now almost smuggle so ban. A idea almost smuggle by. It's a year to your duty, almost to your duty. The any year almost stopping. Not almost yet until set ye obda. Ye tisimu any TCDA, a tisimu amuhum your TV swa. Na ye chasing man say, almost yet, almost fadinema. Maybe your custom ni, many will be a mimi cross out to me or mukram. enso na akoba se eyese yen ene ekotu sa na mo no.
The president of the Oil Palm Development Association, Avila Awuni, also called on the government to protect palm lands from illegal miners who are destroying farms in search of gold. Awuni warned that if this issue was not addressed, it will affect oil production in the near future, leading to job losses for 1.8 million Ghanaians.
Galamsey asemi de mejidi se aje se wuni Ghana ha ana se aje se unfa asase enye hwe enye yen a yeye abehu kuanko omo dua enua koko omo a ebin dan mpo ebeduru baabi na omo utu edan ase aye Galamsey enti sasem we mejidi se Ghana for wo nimde bebre aka ho asem na yen a yeye kuafo se oil palm si sadi aka yeni nso enti akwanya amanya yi mesre se yenuanom a omo nso eno a na omo didi no omo hu se apoto.
Let's bring you some sports news after this. And in sport, Paris court has sentenced Matthias Pogba, brother of French football star Paul Pogba, the 3-year in prison, 2 years suspended over a high-profile extortion case. Matthias will serve 1 year of his sentence under electronic monitoring instead of in prison. The court also fined him 20,000 euros for his role in attempting to extort 13 million euros, which is equivalent to 13.5 million from Paul Pogba in 2022. The case, which shook the French football board, implicated 6 individuals close to Paul Pogba, including 3 childhood friends and his brother Matthias. The other defendants received sentencing ranging from 20,000 to 40,000 euro in fines, with prison terms of up to 8 years. Matthias Pogba's lawyer has described the ruling as extremely harsh and plans to appeal. We are back with some international news. A tragedy struck in Ibadan, southwest Nigeria, as 35 children lost their lives in a crash at a Christmas fanfare, with 6 other hospitalized. The deadly incident occurred on Wednesday at the Islamic High School in the Bush Run district of the city, where over 5,000 children had gathered for the end-of-year Christmas fanfare. Organizers had promised to distribute cash candles out of 5,000 naira, approximately $3, and free food, drawing thousands of desperate children and parents to the venue. The resulting stampede left children trapped and trampled in the chaos. Authorities have urged parents searching for their children to check hospitals in Ibadan as investigations into the tragedy continue. Police have confirmed the arrest of 8 individuals linked to the event. Desperation for financial aid amid Nigeria's worsening economic crisis is believed to have contributed to the overcrowding. Let's wrap up the bulletin with some entertainment updates. On a very sad note, popular Ghanaian YouTuber Aka Ebenezer has confirmed the tragic death of his prodigy, Bright Owusu, widely known as C. Confine. The young actor reportedly passed away in the early hours of December 2024 after battling an undisclosed illness for several months. A statement from Aka Ebenezer's team expressed their profound sorrow, revealing that all efforts to save his life were unsuccessful. It is unclear what specific illness he was battling, but earlier reports indicated that he had been on admission at the Konfonochi Teaching Hospital and in Kumasi. He also had been rising star under a mentorship of Aka Ebenezer, gaining popularity through comic skits and YouTube content. Let's take a look at some of his funniest moments.
When you start with the guitar, brethren, now you listen to me.
Yeah, listen, man, as a respect.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. When you start with the do la ti do fa mi do re po re po re po. Do mi fa ti do bui bo.
Aye, man.
Hear me?
Aye, man.
Hear me, bro?
Yeah, man.
So, take it starting, mercy.
Peter touch. Me have to wait for me have to roll up, man. Back or forward.
Yeah, man.
This one.
Yeah, man. Now the second one.
Second one.
Yes, yes.
So me have to roll up, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. No, never, brethren. You start with dollar ti do fa mi do dollar mi fa mi do.
Me, I got you.
You got me?
Yeah, man.
So let me see, brother. You wrong way, brethren. You wrong way.
Peter Church, me a first time me a learn.
Me know you are first, but listen to me, brethren.
Aye, man.
Start to.
This one?
No.
Second one?
No.
Third one?
No.
Not so good news for the entertainment industry. Well, once again, we're here today, we're gone tomorrow. Why not make peace with each other? On that sad note, we end the bulletin this afternoon. I am Eric Chinibuat. Do you want to catch us, the team, again at 6 for another edition of the news?